Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the third episode of Movers and Shakers, which is a podcast that highlights fantastic businesses here in the Niagara region. I'm incredibly humbled and incredibly grateful to be joined today by the owner of Beechwood Doughnuts. No introduction needed. If you live in the Niagara region, you know who I'm talking about. So without further ado, Taylor.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. I really, really appreciate you doing this. Normally, I would promote that, I'm helping to, amplify the message of businesses. But to be fair and honest, you're probably doing me a favor because your business is amazing and you guys own it on social media. Everybody knows who you are around here. If you say the name Beachwood, automatically people say, "Oh, donuts."
Yeah, I guess I'm I'm at a loss for words. Yeah, I appreciate it.
No, I love what you do. As most people know, I love food, and donuts are one of the better parts of the food industry for me. So, yeah,
you can't go wrong. So,
and you do so much with them. And like for me, I get asked all the time, where do I like to go? What do I like to do? Because people that know me know I'm a foodie and I love to eat, and I've been darn near everywhere in the Niagara region at this point. And there's a few things that I love to buy from you that you can't get anywhere else. So I'm going to throw one at you right away. So I remember I had a vacation. I went down to the Florida Keys. This is a long time back. And it was the first time that I'd ever had key lime pie. And I had it fresh, like very fresh, right down there where it's made, and it's kind of their thing. And it was amazing. And since then, I've had all of these versions that you buy, the frozen, the not frozen, the grocery store, in a good restaurant and fine dining restaurants, sometimes they have it on the menu. They all suck. They all don't taste very good at all in comparison. And then I had a key lime donut, and I was absolutely blown away. So you do some fantastic things with donuts. But we're not here to talk about me and my stomach. What we're here to talk about is your story and get that out there so people can kind of get a behind the scenes look a little bit on how you do what you do. So I guess the first question is why donuts?
Well, I'm actually one of the co-owners. So my partner Shane is the donut guy. He was a self-taught baker. When he went vegan, there wasn't a whole lot of vegan options. This is like a decade ago. So he was making a lot of stuff at home. And then at his job that he first started baking, at home, he would bring stuff to work and everyone's like, "Oh, this is great." And he eventually moved up to be a baker at that job. And then he moved on to professionally baking in vegan restaurants, things like that. And he always wanted to have his own place, but he never had the skills or the knowledge to get a business running because he just liked making really good stuff. And then on the flip side, here's me. I really wanted to, own my own business at some point, but I didn't know how to make anything. I'm not the maker. I know how to run a small business from the inside out from my previous experience with a local business. So when we met, he was really focusing on his donut recipe. This was something he was so focused on, and he almost every time I talked to him, he was like, "I tried a new recipe, try it." And me just being so so basic, I'm like, "I don't notice the difference." And he's like, "You don't notice the difference? Like, this one's so much better than the last one," and so passionate about it. So we both realized after about a year or two of knowing each other that we both wanted to run our own thing. He had something to sell. I could sell it for him. So we linked up, and it was initially we were going to have more than donuts. It was going to be donuts, cakes, cinnamon rolls, sandwiches. Way too much. And then we got the quote for the equipment, and we thought, you know what, that's a lot of money. I was 20 at the time. He was 25, and we're like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Like, we need to narrow our focus, figure out what we actually want to be doing here. And half the equipment was for donuts anyways. So we're like, why are we throwing our focus in all these directions? We were just getting so excited about too many things.
Yeah.
And then we're like, you know what? It's donuts, because there's not a whole lot of places around here that you can get like a really good donut beyond like your basics. but you can get cakes here. You can get sandwiches other places. It was always going to be the donuts that were going to bring people in. So we thought, well, why aren't we just focusing on that? So it was going to be Beechwood Bakery a long, long time ago. But we narrowed it down to Beechwood Donuts mainly because of the cost. But then after thinking about it a lot, we're like, it just makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, the business model kind of fleshed itself out through the development stage.
100%.
And then you realized it. Yeah, that's interesting. So where does the name Beechwood come from?
It's actually named after a street. So when Shay and I met, he was living on this street, and a lot of our friends also lived in that one house, and a lot of those people actually work for us now. So it has a lot of personal meaning. People always expect this like extravagant reason, but we were like, we wanted something that felt close to home. His sister, who was our first staff member, she's like, I really like trees. I like the idea of like something organic, like a tree. So we're like, well, Beechwood's a tree. I'm like, this is Beach Street, Beachwood. Yeah, Beechwood Donuts. It's got some symmetry, and it just kind of stuck. Nobody else had any other ideas.
So you can say the name kind of it grew organically on you.
Exactly.
I'm such a cheese ball.
At first, one of our friends was like, it sounds like Bollywood. It sounds like cheesy. We're like, oh, we kind of like it. Just almost like the way it flows because it is so symmetrical. Like, it just looked good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it has some personal meaning.
Okay. And then you had to find a place.
Yes.
And you landed in St. Catharines. Was that your first choice?
Yeah, I am born and raised in St. Catharines. Shane's lived kind of all over the place, but we always knew that St. Catharines is going to be the place because that's where we live, and we wanted to build in our community. So a lot of people ask why not Toronto, and I tell them I don't live in Toronto.
Yeah,
I'm not commuting 2 hours to work.
Yeah,
I didn't pick the place. I picked what I wanted to do and grow in my own space. And
you have grown. You've moved now. I think, was that about 5 years ago? 3 years ago?
It's exactly 5 years, like almost to the day.
Oh, really?
We signed the lease for the new place. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, and that was you just needed more production space, or?
We needed more space. So our very first space, before we moved in, it was a retail store in there. So we kind of had to make it work. It was super small. Basically, all you saw in there was all there was.
And that was on St. Paul.
It was right around the corner on James Street.
Oh, right.
So it's actually just 3 doors down if you count around the corner. And the only part you couldn't see was this tiny like strip in the back. Like there was 2 doors, and it was basically like an in and out, and it was like our storage room / my tiny desk office beside the bathroom. Like everything, you saw everything when you walked into the store. It's a beautiful space because you could see everything. It was so bright. We loved it, but it wasn't working. It was so small. We were tripping over each other. We just needed more room. And then we actually was approached by the landlord at the time at the storefront around the corner because we had been kind of scoping it out because we had a 3-year lease at our first place. And we're like, well, our lease is almost up. We need more space. We want to stay downtown. At the time, there wasn't a whole lot of storefronts available. When we first looked, there was a ton. There wasn't a whole lot going on. It was like before the Meridian Center, before the Pack. There was a lot of empty space. But 3 years in, it was like very hard. But we had a lot of people approaching us. And a lot of space, it was like, yeah, it's okay, but like it's not really the location or it's not the size we're looking for. And then eventually it was like, this space makes sense. It's not a space that makes sense for a lot of people, but 3,000 square feet, like we can fill that pretty quickly. So it kind of fell in our laps at the right time because we didn't actually find it. It wasn't actually on the market. I guess they had a tenant that was looking to get out of the lease they had just signed, or they had some kind of agreement. And then they realized downtown wasn't really the best fit for their business. So the landlord's like, well, if I find somebody that can fill your spot, then we'll just let you go, right? And it just kind of worked out perfectly that way.
Cool. And so we were there last month, and it's interesting because it doesn't, like, the storefront doesn't look big from the road, right? And that's kind of the thing with a lot of those downtown kind of units. Then you get in and it's so deep. It's kind of mind-blowing. And then you get back and you start going through the different layers of your business, and that's fascinating. So I think the next question I have for you, what I'm really interested in understanding, because I have a bit of a background in kitchens. Obviously, it's one of the things, I love food. So like my whole life, whether it was when my parents owned a pizzeria and I worked with them, or, working here and there, going to Lake at the Queen's Landing, just doing prep cook stuff. Like I've always been fascinated with kitchen work. And you seem to have a very industrialized kind of system. Like you have everything from the back to the front set up. So everything is in order and has its specific place.
Yeah, that was definitely intentional. It's funny with us, we always have to get architects and engineers to sign off on our stuff, but we're always the ones that are actually developing the floor plans every single time. We usually come to an architect because we have to get it approved by an architect, right? And often when you go to somebody like that, they don't understand your business like you do. Mm-hmm. And with Shane and I, we're there every day. We're in it. We're definitely like very present in our business, and we understand what needs to happen with the workflow because we're in it with the staff. So for us, when we come in, we're like, okay, this is exactly what we want. Like, don't change it. Just put it on a big sheet of paper, stamp it, sign it. We'll give you the money. We'll bring it to the city. So for us, we knew exactly what we needed. We knew where all the pain points were, because we're constantly, we're working with the staff in the store with them rather than just like asking people what they would like, or we're setting stuff up for us because we're in it with them. As you can see when you came the other day.
Yeah, you're elbows deep. You're fully engaged.
No, I'm in it. You guys can you guys can go along, but I'm here and Shane's somewhere down there, and we just gotta keep trucking.
Yeah, exactly. When we came in, you were both just going. And it wasn't, you have an office, but it more looked like it was a catch-all space, and it wasn't really being used, every day as your main point of reference. Like you didn't use, that's not where you work.
No, that's when I'm lucky and I have time, that's where you'll find me. But typically every week it's like, okay, if somebody needs a shift covered, if somebody calls it, that's me. I'm in it. I'm there. And, then my office is like after my 10-hour shift, then I'm getting my stuff done kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. The life of a small business owner, right?
Yeah. It's at least centrally located right in the middle. So I'm able to get to it wherever I need. But yeah.
Do you use any specific, I don't know much about donuts. Okay. Other than eating them. And I don't know really what it takes to make the quality of product you make. So I don't know if there's special fryers, ovens, or anything that you use. Obviously, I don't want you to give away any trade secrets because you are one of a kind. But is there like a specific thing that you do in your process, how you've set it up, that you've learned over time? This is how it has to be. Is there anything specific that way? Or is it just through the years of perfecting and honing the art, it's just you've perfected how to do it?
The funny thing about donuts is the reason why you don't see a lot of donut shops that make them fresh every day is they're a pain. They're so finicky. Has to do with the temperature outside, the temperature inside, the humidity outside, the humidity inside, like the temperature of the water, like all these things factor in, and technically the recipe's different every day. You basically have to adjust. Anyone who works with yeast dough knows what I'm talking about. It just takes a lot of knowledge of the science behind it and knowing what you need to adjust based on all these different factors. You can even look up like charts online, troubleshooting for donuts. So vague. Like they didn't rise enough. Why? And it's like, might be too humid, might not be humid enough.
Might have been a change in elevation.
Exactly. Like it'll basically say it could have been anything, but like in a more specific way. Like you might have had too much or too little water. Great. Which one was it? Like, you really have to understand and know what you're looking for in the quality of the product. And then to be able to troubleshoot it every single day. It's a challenge, but a lot of people enjoy the challenge. It is frustrating because donuts are frustrating. Unless you have like the perfect climate. It's like a box with like no doors, everything's completely controlled, but that's not the reality of most places. So they're definitely challenging. It's a lot of science, it's a lot of math. A lot of people don't think that coming into it, but baking is a lot of math.
Baking is nowhere near as forgiving as cooking. And I've always I've always noticed that whenever I'm doing something with baking, you need to have the recipe pretty solid. You know, with cooking, if you put a pinch too much of something, whatever, it'll still taste fine. But with baking, if you put an extra, teaspoon of baking soda in something, it's going to turn out completely different than it was supposed to. Mm-hmm. So baking is definitely different that way. And it also, I think I might have just learned something. So I noticed you have like your baking cycle, and that's it for the day. You don't like bake all through the day. And that's probably because you're talking about the process. I couldn't imagine how difficult it would be if you had 1,000 people coming through your store every day and you had the door opening and closing in the middle of the winter and the temperature fluctuations and everything else. It probably would never work.
Like it could, but it'd be really annoying. And I mean, there's a reason why like we try to keep that portion farther back because there's less door openings. We have that glass wall, but like there's a doorway in it, so but yeah, they're finicky, and it's a 4-hour process too. It's not like cookies where you can just like have the batter and you bake the cookies and you can go to bed and just wake up when the store opens, right? You have to make them fresh every single day. Yeah. We're not like making them and then it's good for the week or good for a couple days, or we can freeze them. It's waking up, starting at 4 a.m. on a normal day, getting that dough started and having the process repeat itself all day until we've decided that's the amount we need to do. And since it is like a 4-hour window, we need to decide how many to do early. So it's a lot of like trying to gauge, again, is it going to rain today? Is it going to be nice out? Are people are going to be walking around? Is there any events? Trying to figure out how much to make it till close, but not have too many at close, but not sell out too early. It's all a lot of challenges every day.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch up and we're gonna go to flavors. Now you said earlier that it's taken him a long time to perfect his flavors, and he's incredibly passionate about it. Do you take any role in that now, or is that still his baby?
It's mainly him. Like for him, it's more like the dough quality. I'm the one that gives like all the ideas, or like I'll pass on ideas from the staff, but often it's me every month sitting in the office thinking like, what have we done before? How can we do it better? Because I'm the one on social media as well. So I'm the one that knows, which photos that I've taken that do well. Why? Is it the photo or is it what's in the product, photo? Right. How many versions of this flavor have we done? Which ones do better? What do people want to see? So I'm always giving them the list, and he's usually the one going, nope, not going to do that again. Nope, okay, we'll do that one. Or we can change this one a little bit. He's the one that tweaks the recipes. I'm usually the one that's like, this is what the people want. Are we gonna do it? Can we do these? He likes to, do that side.
What is your most popular flavor, if you don't mind?
Cookies and cream, probably, or birthday cake. I took away birthday cake one December once. I said, we're going to take it off the holiday menu just this once. We're going to do some other flavor, and people rioted. What about the December birthdays? We need to have birthday cake. How dare you? And I'm like, there's 20 other flavors you can have on your birthday still. Like, you still have a donut. It doesn't have to be that birthday one. Like, what if you don't even like birthday cake? You don't have to have it on your birthday. I feel like cookies and cream would be even worse. I'm not even gonna try to take it off.
I can understand that one. Obviously, like I said, I like my specific ones. I'm fascinated by the Earl Grey, and how well you're able to get that. Like how close it is. And I think I like the lemon poppy seed.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's normal.
Why is that not normal?
I don't know. I just feel like it gives me old man vibes. Maybe I'm projecting.
It kind of does, but like Dutchie is even more like old man vibes.
I had a Dutchie today.
I didn't say anything. I mean, the donut you choose is kind of reflects your personality. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I can write a book on it, like every flavor. Usually that's in our interviews too. Like, what's your favorite flavor? And right away I'm like, I see it. Yeah. I could have guessed that one. Sometimes they surprise me a little bit, but
what's your favorite flavor?
I like Nanaimo only because that used to be my only flavor suggestion for anything when Shane was baking at other places. What should our featured cake be? Cheesecake,
Nanaimo.
This, that, Nanaimo. And he's like, that's stupid. But then he would do it and people loved it. Like, because it's the best dessert.
It's such a good flavor. My mom used to make it, and I really loved it. And now the only way I can make it is out of a box, and it doesn't taste the same. No, I like the really well done Nanaimo.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
It's my birthday cake every year. Whatever form of cake it is, it's always Nanaimo flavor.
That's awesome. So what is in the future for Beechwood? What's your goals for the future?
The whole experience of us opening the business wasn't like the typical experience. Like I remember the first day, me being super ambitious at like 20, I was like, we're going to sell the same as like a 24-hour Tim Hortons one day. And Shane and Leah were like, yeah, I don't think so. That's like 450. And that was the very first day we made 250, which was a lot. Sold out in an hour. So it's noon. We're supposed to be open till 7. So then we thought, okay, I guess we just like close for 4 hours. We'll reopen at 5. We'll make more. Then that sold out again. So it's just a nonstop, like, what's going on? Like this isn't normal. Like we thought it was just going to be slow. Like we never paid for advertising, nothing. It was just word of mouth. You know, Shane and I worked on the store a lot ourselves. It was like 2 months of accelerated, just we're there from first thing in the morning until like 11 p.m. every single day, just getting the store ready, doing as much of it as we could. And we would just leave the door open and people would wander in and be like, what are you doing? What's this going to be? Didn't really put any signage. I think I just like printed off like an 8x11 sheet of paper and put it on the window. Like nothing wild or anything.
We will be a donut shop.
Yeah, it's just like donut shop kind of thing. Like super low key. So we were not expecting anything. And just right off the hop, because we were selling out, that generated more interest. Why is this place selling out? What is this? What's going on? Like our very first customers were actually from Foregrounds Media, who used to be on James Street. And I remember seeing them after a really long day at like 11 p.m. And they're like, this is the best marketing ploy you could never buy. I was like, I know, and I'm so tired. Like, it's so late. But it was great. And, you know, we kind of just learned as we went. And every time somebody asked, like, what's your plans for the future? What's in 5-10 years? And every time I would say, I'm just looking to like next week. Like my whole plan was just blown out of the water on the first day. So everything else has just kind of been, we might as well just roll with it and see where it takes us. And now we're, I think, 7.5 years later, 30.
That has triggered a few questions. So what is your like most sold donuts in a day? Because I know during the last couple of years, everything was kind of pre-order, right? There was a long stretch there where it was only pre-order. Mm-hmm. So did you do more with pre-orders or did you do less than normal with pre-orders? Like, how did that work?
So it was less. So when COVID hit, we ended up just bringing a few staff back at a time. Just wanted to do it as super safe as possible. At first, it was just deliveries. So Shane and I took our little Mazda. We would put 150 assorted boxes of 6 in the back. Like it was just a set box of 6 every week. So we'd say, you can go on our website, pre-order the box of 6. We have 150 of them each day. And once they're sold out, they're sold out. So we would fill the little Mazda 3 times a day, delivering all over St. Catharines and Thorold. And then once the summer hit, we found the right platform online to set up time slots. So again, we're a business that draws a lot of crowds. We didn't want to just be like, hey, everyone come pick up whenever. Yeah. And we also wanted to make it manageable for us and the staff. So we figured out a way to set up time slots. So we did delivery and then the time slots. And then we figured out, you know what? Delivery's going really well. People love it. We want to deliver beyond St. Catharines and Thorold. So we invested in the van about a year ago, I think, a year and a half ago. So we got the Ford Transit, got some nice shelves put in, and then we started delivering to all of Niagara, Hamilton, and Burlington as well. So we're still not at like pre-COVID levels. We're not open as many days as we used to. We used to be open Monday to Friday, 9 to 8 p.m., and then Saturdays, 10 to 6. So now we're currently open Tuesday to Saturday, 10 to 5. We're slowly inching towards where we were before with the addition of pre-orders and delivery. which is interesting because that's something we always wanted to do before, be able to do pre-orders, be able to do delivery. But because we were so set in the way we did things before and the setup just wasn't fit for all of those services, just the walk-in, we were never able to really put it into motion because we were just so high volume. I think pre-COVID, probably a little over 4,000 in a day was like our max. But now that we've had to kind of start from ground zero and build it back up, we built those services into our business model. And we're currently working with Ram Design to like redesign the whole entire front of the store. I don't know if you noticed like the counter has moved from where it was before. We're doing a bunch of different things up front to make it permanently function for the walk-ins, the pre-orders, the delivery, all the things that we always wanted to do.
Awesome. So 4,000 is like, that's like the most you've ever done in a day? Like that's kind of like the high end?
Yeah, that'd be like an Easter Saturday or like Mother's Day Saturday.
So I'm happy you said that because I was going to ask you that next is what's your busiest holiday? I'm assuming that it's like Mother's Day or Easter.
Yeah, Easter, Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, Valentine's
Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve. For whatever reason, Father's Day doesn't do the same thing that Mother's Day does, but yeah, those are like the 5.
Because dads always get the crusty old cinnamon donuts.
Yeah, it's like, what do you get, Dad? I don't know, beer, nuts.
Yeah.
A barbecue. Like,
yeah, well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
So generic.
But yeah, no, good point. Yeah, well, Mother's Day is coming up. So I'm sure you're going to get a lot of business for that, especially now with things being open again. People are much more capable and able to get out and do stuff. I'm sure you're going to see a huge bump for Mother's Day. What's your favorite time of the year to, like, is there specific seasons in that you find that you really enjoy working and doing this?
Not really. All the years kind of like blend together really, but it all just depends. There's always new challenges every year. So no season's ever really the same for us. Like sometimes, like especially downtown with like so many new things happening all the time, like this is going to be our very first summer with the road closures that were open for walk-ins because the last, I think 2 summers we were just pre-order only. So that's going to be completely new to us. Like there's always new things that they're adding to the downtown core that it's like every single season is different. So I have no idea what my favorite is. It might be summer after the street closures. Who knows? Like I know In the Soil is doing programming all summer now. I don't know if you're familiar with In the Soil. Yeah. They used to just do like, it used to be in April, I think, a few days in April. And then pre-COVID, they moved it to June. And now they're going to be doing like a launch weekend in June. And then they're going to be doing programming throughout the summer, I'm assuming during the closures, which would be cool.
Yeah, for those who don't know, when you're saying street closure, what they mean is, or what you mean is they actually close down the street for traffic so that cars can't go up and down. And that way we can have all of the restaurants and bars and businesses be open and spread out into that area. So it's kind of like creates a huge like party kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, they started it right at the beginning of COVID. I feel like it's something that they've been playing with as an idea, but it was really pushed when the necessity
I remember them talking
there.
about it years ago.
Oh yeah, and obviously there's like varying views as to how it should be done and when we should do it. And now it has a name. I think it's a pedestrian promenade, I think. But I'm just so used to calling it the road closures. But it's starting to seem like it's becoming more of a permanent, celebrated fixture of downtown. So that'll be super cool.
Absolutely. With my background is marketing with school. Old classmates of mine are actually working with the city. And now they have a position for the downtown core for marketing specifically for that area and the businesses and that for that type of party atmosphere to bring more people to it. So which is interesting that there's a position being created to do that. Yeah. To help the businesses down in that area to get more eyes on them, make people in the Niagara region aware of what's going on there. So I found that pretty interesting when I saw that an old classmate of mine got hired to do that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Well, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time. I know you're incredibly busy to come down here and sit with me, to talk with me a little bit about your business and tell me a little bit about yourself, and the history of where you got from to where you are now, because the business now is incredible. It's become a fixture in St. Catharines. Everybody knows who you are. And when everybody in my industry, in real estate, at Revel Realty, I know you get a ton of support from us. We really, really enjoy using your product for gifts and thank yous to the businesses and partners that we have, and sometimes our clients. So thank you for doing such an amazing job and making our job much easier because of it. And I hope for the continued success, because I absolutely love what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure I've delivered here at least once. I don't deliver often. I used to deliver in the Stony Creek, like Ancaster, that whole little outskirts of Hamilton chunk. And I think the one day I helped deliver here, and I was like pulling in, thought, I recognize this place.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ordered in the fall, I think it was, to have delivered here.
No, I
Yeah.
remember now. Yeah.
So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for
Awesome.
having me.